Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show. Another exciting show and definitely another exciting guest. This is a recap episode. Let me explain to you where we're going with this. Every now and then we get those guests on the show that has done remarkable things in their journey in that beast mindset, and they continue to do remarkable things. And then some people just do remarkable things every single day. And this young man, I had the privilege of meeting him. I believe it was probably last year or the year before last, but I remember him coming in from Florida. I remember him attending a music conference, and I listened to his music and was blown away. And I remember the song was First Impressions. If I'm got it right, I think it's called First Impressions.
Yeah.
And I listened to the words and was completely blown away because everything he said in the song was true. You know, you never get that second chance to make a first impression. And a lot of people really don't understand how important that is in everyday life, because when you're going out and you meet somebody, that's why your mom and your grandparents, especially in our culture, they always say what? Dress to impress. Don't leave out the house with your pants sagging, because you never know you're going to run into.
And whenever you walk in somewhere, look everybody in the eye, shake their hand, Yeah.
With that said, let me introduce today's guest, no other than the one, the only, one of the premier recording R&B artists himself, all the way from Tampa, Florida, the one, the only, Javen Jackson. What's up, big dog?
Ooh, hey, I clap it up too. I like that. I appreciate it. Man, thank you for having me back on the show so much. It's been a while.
Yeah. What's been going on with you since the last show? I mean, I follow you on social media. Congratulations, you're getting ready to get married. We'll talk about that.
Yes, thank you.
But what's been going on with you? You know, because you lost a friend. Last I remember, you took the time to come to Indianapolis, and you had just at the same time gotten the bad news that you lost a dear close friend of yours. And stuff.
Yeah.
How did you? So tell me what's been going on since that. How did you pick up the pieces and get back in the studio?
Well, honestly, it was my cousin that I ended up losing when I got the news. Oh, excuse me. When I got the news about him taking his own life, something that I really didn't know that he was struggling with, or a lot of us really didn't know he was struggling with, and it did kind of push me into a place where I didn't really want to create, or didn't even want to step behind a computer, because he was the guy that made beats. I used to listen to some of the beats that he would make, and he would kind of do DJ mixes and stuff. And it was, somebody that really inspired me. He also had a 3-piece boy band, so I used to follow him and his brother, as well as his cousin too. Right. But after that, I had moved from Tampa to St. Pete, and then those 2 hurricanes hit St. Pete, and that took me out for a hot minute, man. Not only was I dodging hurricanes, but at the same time, like the house was underwater. So it was a rough year. I'm not gonna lie. Really? So that's kind of what put it on a pause. So I took that time to like just get my life straightened out. I ended up relocating and moved to another place out of a flood zone, so I was a little safer if it happens again. And from there, I just started building, and I've been waiting for the right moment. It wasn't until July 18th that I was able to, bust on a knee and propose to my lady. So that took a lot of my time as well, making sure that I was ready for it, making sure that we were, starting off in a healthy place. And then from there, I was just locking in with a guy named Swish Bangers, who is a mixing engineer and recording producer that I met through a studio musician that was going in and laying down some guitar licks for him to use in his samples and stuff. And so I got in with him, and that's when we cut this record, Changed on Me. And then Wishing Well, I took it upon myself to revamp that recording from that track. I wrote it maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been sitting on it, and I was kind of doing like my smooth, soulful drops or whatnot. And then I was like, you know what? I want to release something that I can really just kind of have some fun with and really just show people some more of my diverse skills as far as vocals as well as like arrangements. So I took those 2 tracks, we chopped up the drums, redid it, and then I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? I can't hold back too much longer because I got more of this on the way. I still feel like my greatest songs are still to be written. So I just took that time to really handle my personal life as well as promote a healthy engagement that will lead to a healthy marriage. And then, just making the music great, making the sound sonic, the frequencies be something that you can, feel as well as hear.
When you mentioned going back to, and I lived in Tampa and stuff, and that was the first time I ever experienced what they call it, the rainy season.
Yeah.
And
summer showers.
They was like, hey, it was funny how the natives there, the people who grew up there, knew everything about like the rainy season and hurricanes. And I'm from the Midwest. I don't know what's going on. They say you can tell the rainy season by the clouds, and it was funny because they predicted everything. But when the tornado, when the hurricane hit, how long had you been relocated? Were you pretty much nestled in your place?
No, we had fresh moved in at the end of August, and then end of September they hit. So we hadn't even gotten everything out of the boxes yet before.
Really?
Yeah, before they ended up hitting.
How much did you wind up losing? Because you
probably more than half of my stuff. Furniture, clothing, a few electronics. I made sure to elevate all of my musical equipment, everything like that. That stuff takes way too long to build up, man. So I was protecting all the things that I felt like were going to be super valuable, but we didn't stay there. So we just prayed when we came back that it was still going to be there, kind of elevated on the bed or whatnot. So yeah.
Did you guys have any? Did you guys have any? Like when we have tornado warnings here, they have big ass sirens that go off. You guys didn't get any week advance warning from the Meteorological Society?
Well, the thing about being in Florida, and like they give you a lot of, updates and everything like that. But the thing about being in Florida is like, you don't know what's going to end up happening last minute. You can be like, these people need to watch out in this area and bunker down, and then it end up hitting in a completely different location than you had originally planned on. So they do their best to try to keep us informed. And then God has his own other plans as far as that goes. But yeah, we don't have any like sirens or anything like that. That probably would make people actually get up and get out. Some Florida man's like, I'm not leaving. I'll be fine. And you're like, bro, come on. Next thing you know, they're on the hood of their car trying to get saved.
Really? That's crazy. So let's go back to your music. You took a hiatus because of the different things that was going on in your life. Who did you gravitate to? I know maybe it was your fiance, but a lot of times when these things happen to us, Javen, we really don't want to be the burden to somebody else who's probably going through stuff. So who did you have to really help you get your inspiration back besides yourself?
Man, honestly, like I said, my fiance was a huge part of that, but I also started therapy as well. That helped me navigate a lot of the inner workings of my brain, going back to like some of the childhood roots and some of the issues that caused me. I haven't lost a lot of people in my family, or just people near and dear to me in general. So it really had me look back and understand why it is that some things were holding me back or procrastinating on actually doing the work when I did have some time off from my job. I became a captain. I run events and catering at a hotel, exclusive autograph collection. So that takes up a bit of my time as well. And so just learning to kind of navigate how all that works and then take it to music and find, where it's leading me, where my soul is being touched. I was listening to older music as well as like newer stuff. And yeah, like I said, just like doing the inner work with therapists, and then I found a couple of friends here in Tampa that are pretty well-rounded individuals that I've kind of started to get myself around, and that's getting me back motivated and excited about doing music. I got some live gigs that I see
Right.
coming up, one in November and one in December. So I'm excited to kind of just get back out and perform. I think I performed twice after I left Indianapolis.
Right.
Um, and then that was it. The hurricanes hit, and I just haven't really been able to get back on stage since then.
You're still young, and my hats off to you for really recognizing that you couldn't do it yourself, that you needed some professional help. Without giving too much of your personal insight, what was three of the things when you went to therapy, based on everything that you went through, that you was really having a hard time struggling with?
Man, that's a good question, and I feel like I talked about so much during that time. But
Right.
if I were to like sum
We
it
do,
up,
look, we do that in therapy. Trust me.
yeah, I'm about to say, especially if you want it to work, shoot.
Yeah.
But I'd say that it had to do with um, dealing with rejection and
Okay.
how that fueled my resilient and persistent nature to go for success. But
Right.
at some point, that leads to, and I know that at the root is like relationships that get you to, elevate yourself to the next career, to the next level. And so, like,
Right.
I felt like I just needed to get deeper connections and relationships with people to where it felt like I was always disconnecting with them in some way, sense or form. Like maybe they'll, speak to me, real friendly and to my face, and we talk about working together or doing something. But then like it always just kind of falls to the crack, and I'm like, man, like is it me? Is it the other person? Like maybe God's just not wanting me to be around this person, or maybe God's saying you got some more work to do before you can really
Mhm.
develop and lead a team. So
Right.
I would say learning how to unchain myself from bad habits, not
Mhm.
being afraid of um, my own success to where I jeopardize it, and then yeah, just learning how to deal with those rejections, and not, it's okay to like take negative and transmute it into positive energy, but at the same time, like if you make that your soul, like, oh, I'm trying to prove this person wrong or prove all those people that doubted me wrong,
Right.
then like you just end up in a place where you're not even doing it for yourself. So I'm
Right.
like, now it's all about where my heart leads me, then I follow that, keep it rooted in truth. Like you said on my track, I like to tell the truth. So I
Yeah.
just keep it real, keep it authentic. And yeah, that's where most areas of my
It's
life I
hard.
needed to like really work on.
It's hard to imagine that at such a young age that you dealt with rejection. You mean rejection, like, even when it came to relationships, family, friends? Where was most of the rejection coming from that you was dealing with? Was it the criticism of your music? Like, go a little deeper with that part.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm one of nine in my family, and I'm a middle child. So like, I I don't know. I felt like I was always depended on, but then whenever I needed to depend on some people, then I would just be let down. Whether that was my family or me being an athlete in school or not, I was always like that good friend that everybody kind of lean on. But at any turn, I would feel like people would turn the hat and then just like to rail jokes on me just because it is what it is. Granted, we all crack jokes on everybody, uh,
Mhm.
but and then outside of that, yeah, I I had this insatiable need for all the women that seem like they like me to
Right.
to be managed. So to put it frank, so I just had to learn that, all right, just because every woman, think you pretty, think you cute, some of them just want to be friends. So I had to
Right.
learn that sometimes I gotta let bygones be bygones. So
Mhm.
uh yeah. So I got some say yes, some say no, but I just
Yeah.
need one to say yes and she already said yes. So I'm
So
sticking to that. And then
you had to go through a lot of that therapy. Really took you to, not saying you're not a man, but I guess it kind of elevated you deeper into looking at exactly the things that a man should really do as it relates to rejection, women, and so forth. I guess it took you to a different level.
yeah, well, it's the things that's not glorified on media. Everyone,
Right.
wants the money, the cars, the girls, the glam, the fame, the power, the respect, and everything like that. But it's not all it's cracked up to be from the way it's portrayed versus how it's actually obtained.
Mm-hmm.
We all look at money, status, power, and think that either someone came from a bad place with it, or some people are just jealous by it. But at the same time, like it's a language that you learn to speak, and a habit that you develop, a muscle that you flex, to reach a new level, reach a new height, and being a man, being a woman, um, and being a creative, being an artist. So I just knew that if I really wanted to take it to the next level, then I just had to dive deeper in. Someone on a podcast said, if you want to be better at branding and marketing, said get into therapy, because it'll help you learn how to tell your story, learn how to find your narrative. So I was like, you know what? I'll just take the advice and do it. So
when you did that, this is a two-part question. I think the biggest thing, like you said, you was dealing with is the loss of your cousin, trying to recapture that spark that you guys shared together. How much did the loss of your cousin and the addition to the therapy elevate your music? And let me go deeper with this. You just touched on something. And part two of the question is, how do you stay real in the music industry when everything you see is portrayed as, you got the Rick Rosses in Miami flossing, and, the Little Waynes, and they got the profanity, the degrading of women. But it's funny because to me, even if it's entertainment, do I really want to engage myself with an artist that's not portraying authenticity or devaluing women in in videos and musical lyrics? How do you deal with all that? That's a two-part question for you.
Man, well, I will say it is hard because I love hip hop music and I like the energy that comes behind it. But the reason why I never consider myself like a rapper or really wanting to be in that hip hop scene is because of exactly what you said, some of the degrading and the devaluing of the things that I find to be highly valuable and of a higher regard of how we should address women, or even our fellow brothers, or just even the world in general. So my job, I feel like, is to bring light, because there's plenty of darkness that you can find in the world. So my goal is to just bring that light into my music, tell my truth, not just lie about it in my lyrics, but actually live it. So when I didn't write for a minute, it was because I honestly just kind of got lost in what my truth was and what story I was trying to tell myself, because it felt like there was so much bad going on to where I was like, God, is this really something that I should be doing right now? Like, Is this you trying to tell me to, hang it up? I'm on year 4 now, so I feel like I'm really just kind of getting it cranking. I started off, setting up the business, and then I started taking off time from the business to just develop the sound of the music and travel and then do shows. And then all that happened, and then I just kind of gotten bogged down in all these different obstacles. And then me being a hurdler, I was like, well, the only way through it, is to run through it, keep your form good, breathe, and then just take it one step at a time, tackle one hurdle at a time. So with losing, the same time I lost my cousin, my sister also had a miscarriage in her 3rd trimester. So it was her first child that she was getting ready to have. And thank God she's trying again. She's brave, and she's, I want to say, about 4 months in right now, and things are looking a lot better on the jump for that. But yeah, that time just took me, and I swallowed it, and then I regurgitated my own truth through it. So I do have a song that I wrote about it called "Watch Over Me." That I'm gonna hold off on that one and for a couple of weeks, or maybe a few months or whatnot. I really have something that I want to put out following Changed on Me, which is Beauty Queen. But yeah, Changed on Me was about literally changing the personal person you see in the mirror, as well as, if there's people around you that kind of change up on you, don't force it.
Right.
Whether it's blood, or if it's a friend of yours, it's no good to stay in like a toxic environment just because you got history with somebody. So that's what that song really meant for me.
When you left therapy, well, you haven't left therapy. We never leave therapy. When you walked away from therapy to start working on yourself, what was the most important part of that really resonated with you, that you carry to this day, that, even when you feeling like you can't go on, you can reflect back to that particular session and go, you know what, he or she, your therapist, he or she said, you replay in your mind to keep you going?
It was more so build on the successes and don't focus on the failures. If I let myself down, then be a coach, be your biggest coach through it, versus beating yourself up. Sometimes as creatives, I've been in many studio sessions, and like we kind of like to be hard on ourselves to kind of push ourselves to be better, some of that tough love. But then oftentimes I find the best and most healthiest way to like work through that stuff is by being coachable, and being able to listen to others around you as well as yourself in the highest regard, versus thinking about yourself in a lower regard. So that's probably the biggest thing that I would have to take away from it, because I would come to it and be like, well, I'd have a great day. I would be hitting all my marks as far as the things that I wanted to do in my personal, my creative, and, my work life. But then I'd still be like, but this happened and this happened. I would talk a little bit too much about that. And he was like, well, let's dial back. Let's go back onto, some of those things that were more positive, were more, things that you can be proud of. So once I really solidified that I can coach myself out of, and I've done this most of my life, but just in a newer, healthier, and a sense that comes from, who I want to be as a man. So
how do you wind up staying relevant? How do you wind up creating music? How do you come up with the ideas, and how do you know if it's going to resonate? Because I couldn't imagine being a artist that writes music and sing music, because I wouldn't even know how to really tap into what people are feeling, because right now everybody is you can't get a read on anybody now, because there's so much stuff going on in people's lives. How do you determine what's going to resonate?
Man, I can't speak for most songwriters as far as like their process to it. Mine comes from where I'm feeling it, and then I can either have these conversations with my fiance, or I'll have them with friends of mine or whatnot, and then they'll inevitably or they'll relate to it, and so I see where's that relative to my story, and how can I turn that into something that like is digestible. Another way I do it is through just looking through social media and seeing like what the state of culture is, what the state of community is, what's the current conscious state of awareness. What are we focused on? It's mostly usually always negative, and so I try to either find the positive or take the negatives, and then try to like ask questions to find our way out of it. Like, why did we get here? How do we end up there? And where do we go from here? So like,
Right.
I take some of these questions, and then, I mean, last but not least, shoot, one of the oldest ways I know how to do it is I listen to music, and then I'll my dyslexia self wants to jump to the front of what the songwriter was gonna say, and if they don't say it, I was like, well, that's mine now. That's me now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would take different parts of songwriters, um, little ideas of storytelling, and I'm like, how can I tell a story in that way, but with my voice?
You mentioned the impact of the loss of your cousin, and you guys worked together. I'm pretty sure you guys worked on some unfinished projects. How difficult is it for you to go back and listen to beats and things that you guys collaborated, and to bring them back and bring those ideas that you guys shared before that happened to life? Or are you just gonna let them just sit there and stuff? How were you approaching all that? Because I know you hear his beats. I know if they're right there in front of you, you want to click on it every now and then. It can be painful because you remember those you remember those exact moments when those beats or those lyrics or whatever was created. How are you approaching that now to keep that alive? Not only for yourself, but for him.
For him, I want his legacy to live on. So I think that at some point I will put something out there. I haven't found the words yet for that, for those stories, for those emotions, for those ethos outside of the song that I wrote for him, which is basically straight harmonies and my voice. So I don't really have any instrumentations to it yet that I'm working on for it. But right now, it's kind of just sitting on the shelf for me. Not that I don't go back and relive the feelings or the emotions of it, but I also don't have access to his laptop right now. I'm trying to get with his his ex-wife to find those, but I've been giving her some space, and I've been getting some space as well. But once that the calling comes, then I'll do it. Till then, I mean, I've got so much songs in my catalog currently that I'm like, I want to press on. I want to put those, and I've been on hold from that hold for too long. So I'm like, you know what? Let's see what's on the brighter side. Let's see what's on the brighter side right now.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, let's go back to at least two of your favorite most played songs. The First Impression. Heck, you got three. I forgot it. Is it Caliente? Caliente. What?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel that those songs is getting so much attention? And First Impressions, did you expect First Impressions and Caliente and all the other couple songs to do as well as they done? Because I know when you guys put stuff out there, you wish upon a star, but yours really have took off. Was it something that you expected or what?
Yeah. I just really hoped so, man. I've been chipping away at this thing for a minute. I wrote a lot of bad songs starting off. And so whenever I got some collaborators around me like Uncle Jams and Bush, as well as some of the other guys that I've been working with for some time now, Luke Kang and Chandler, I was just like, you know what? Let's make something that's undeniable. Let's just make music that blends well, that can sit in any timeline, and people can still appreciate it for what it is. Let's not get too busy with it. Let's give it a groove. Let's give people something to think about. Let's keep the messaging right. Let's keep the good vibes going. And so I drop them, and then I release them to the world for them to dissect it. I mean, I don't get too bogged down in the insights of it. I like to make sure that I'm collecting, because I mean, I do run my business myself, so I do like to make sure that everything like that is squared away. But at the end of the day, I'm just gonna keep on writing songs in hopes that, you know, it sparks something in people. Yeah, and one day, I mean, I want to get into studio quick, soon, with more collaborators, people that I feel like are so much more talented, know so much more than me, and I sit behind here on my studio, and I crank away.
Like, who you want to work with? Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to work with?
Man, there's this one girl called Sun. These are kind of like young girls and guys. You got Sun. I also see like a Montel Fish is another great one. I'd love to get in the studio with Depop and Brent Fayez. Who else would be in there? Shoot, I'd love to do something with Miguel. But if anything, man, there's a ton of cats out there. I mean, the Carpet Man that I be seeing on TikTok, I pull out a guitar and rock the stage, rock somewhere with him too. But yeah, honestly, just put me in the room with other creators, people that want to create good vibes, and I just want to bring their story to life and be a part of it. You know, I take that hero's journey, and then I just make all the friends and the people along the way that we all come together and we create something, you know, magical, something undeniable.
That sounds awesome. What do you like better? You know, writing.
We stop at nothing. We stop at nothing to make greatness.
Really? If you only had to choose one, do you
I definitely say I'm a studio jockey. I could sit in the studio for.
So you like being in the studio creating. You don't really care about performing. Think closely before you answer that now.
If I had to pick one out of the two.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one out of the two, I would still have to say performing. I still have to say performing, because I still haven't tapped into like the real rawness of where my shows can go. Right. And so like I know once like I see that, I feel that, I gotten through the nerves of performing. But you even seen, you know, I don't have my band yet, so I came up there just straight play tracks, and then I just bust a couple of moves, and I make sure that the vocals are on point. But it does bring me a lot of joy to be in front of people, to really connect with them. I think I just love being in the studio working with it, because that's just I've gotten so comfortable in the realm of it, to where like I can do it, and then the quality of the people that are in the room, or the quality of like my vibrations at the time, can make it to where it's you know, something I can get comfortable doing. But overall, I still see myself on tour in like 2 years, you know, if not less. I want to start off by, you know, doing some local shows, and then open up for some people, you know, regionally, get into some festivals, and then from there, now that I don't have this, now that I'm not getting blown away by hurricanes, I can actually decide. I can actually sit back and, you know, decipher what my next moves are without having to be uprooted so much. So I knock on wood on that, because we still are in hurricane season. But
that's why I'm glad I'm in the Midwest.
Things are moving at a good pace.
Okay, so tell me about the new single or EP that's about ready to drop. What was the reason behind it? How did you come up with the idea, and what's the message of the new song that you about ready to come out with?
So that one right there came because I had just bought the ring for my fiance, and I bought it like in March, but I didn't do it until like July. And so I just thought to myself, like, what would be a song that like I could play for her at our wedding, or that I could play for her when I, you know, give her the ring, and something that could really, you know, sum her up. And the thing that came to me was Beauty Queen. somebody that is beautiful on the inside and the out, and
Right.
her understanding, her gentleness, her softness, but also her strong-willedness as well. Sometimes I can call it stubborn. But all the reasons, all the things about her that I love, but at the end of the day, like, it's things that made a man out of me through the 7 years that we've been together. So
Wow.
that's what the next thing was about, is essentially, yeah, what that would be like, what it would feel like to, but not in the modern sense. This is gonna take you back. Like, when you hear it, you're gonna sit there and think like you should be sitting in a top down 74 Jeep, drinking a lick with a milkshake, riding down the highway,
Riding down
down to
Bear
the,
Street.
yeah,
Yo, man,
up until like a movie. Yeah, so this it's gonna give you like that. It's gonna give you a feel that takes you back, and then you might have a moment. Hopefully, it brings a moment to people that's just getting together, or people that's been together for a long time. So,
I
uh,
can't. I
yeah,
can't wait.
Beauty Queen. What is this? Beauty Queen, you'll take me higher. Nothing obscene. She'll make a man out of me. Something I've never seen. That's about all you get, though. That's about all you get.
Man, I'll take whatever I can get on this show. That is like totally cool. So does she know about this? Does she know that the song was written for her? Has she heard it?
She has. So when her family came down, and when was this? I want to say it was the beginning of June. I think it was like June 1st or something like that. Her family had came down. I hadn't met a lot of them, but they had a wedding down here. During that time, that was the first time that I actually like sang it and performed it for her in our house from my studio in front of her family. And so it was a pretty special, like, magical moment. I mean, she doesn't believe that most of the songs that I write are about her anyway, but that's just her playing humble. That's just her being humble.
No, how many songs?
Maybe humbling me.
How many songs did you write that was about her? Cause, I'm gonna put you on the spot. How many did you write that? Yeah.
Most of them.
Okay.
Some of them are. Most of them. About it. You ain't gonna get me like that. I'm in my honeymoon phase. All of them, except for the breakup ones. That's why Changed on Me isn't something that I've been posting a lot that has to do with our relationship, because I just proposed, and if I go around like throwing out these lyrics about you changed on me, and leaving stuff in the past, people might get the wrong idea. But if anything, I could see Changed on Me music video be me running away from a crowd of women with my fiance and her little wedding dress, right now, because I'm running away from the things that people say that it's supposed to make you happy, but inevitably we see over and over again it doesn't really fulfill you. So,
how difficult was it for you to come to grips that this would be my last question, to come to grips with this is what you need to do to be complete? You got that queen. When did you have that revelation to say, you know what, she's the one, I'm gonna do it, this is the time?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly like a brain, like something that's clicked in my brain after, I'd probably say on the tail end of that, what happened last, after all the hurricanes and all the stressful situations that we went through. And I just took that, and I'm like, what am I missing? Why is it that even our communication might break down? And it was because I wasn't all in. And she's been by my side, always my biggest supporter. So I just was like, I don't know what am I holding back, from her? And she's inevitably waiting for that to click, which once it did, I just took it and I just ran with it. I also want to be a father. I can't wait to look forward to being a father. So I was like, well, I got to start the steps today in order to be ready for it. Because if if God forbid or God willing something were to happen, I would be scared out of my mind. I mean, I know I'll figure it out, but at the same time, I want my babies, my tracks to make me money first to pay for the kids that I got coming. Because nowadays, man, I don't know. I don't even know how my parents did it with all those kids, how they raised us. Because I can't even imagine if I had one kid right now trying to raise them in Tampa. And in this current state of things. So
yeah, you need to take both of your parents out. And say,
I do.
Look, Javen, say dinner's on me.
I did actually. One of the last time I was out with my mom, I had to take care of her and my nana.
Javen,
but once we put that there, go ahead.
How can the viewers reach out to you and get your music, support you, and listen to all of your beautiful songs that you have out?
Y'all can find me at Javen Jackson. That's Javen like Raven, but with a J, Jackson. Anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I use them all. I'm always active on it. So that's where people can go and stream my music anywhere. I also have a podcast called the Hometown Heroes series that I did 2 episodes of those. I'm looking to, get back and do it. I lost the co-host for it, but right now I'm thinking about just hopping on there and, speaking about a little bit more of my truths and, finding people that resonate with me outside of the music. Because nowadays you can't just be a musician that's all super ambiguous. You want to build a brand. So
what's the name of your podcast again, Javen? What's the name of the podcast?
The Hometown Heroes.
And they can find it on the same platforms as well?
On YouTube. They can find that on YouTube.
Wow, you've done a lot in the last couple of years, man. I'm proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, we're always here to support you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you reach out, support, click. All it takes is one click of a button to support somebody, to make a difference in somebody's life. Javen, thank you so much for taking time to come on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show.
Yes.